I turned 60 in 1984. I had more money than I needed, still had a mortgage, still had business credit lines. Nothing exotic. Everyone told me the same thing. You're 60 now, Kevin. Be conservative. Eliminate risk. Pay everything off. I ignored them. Not because I love debt, I don't, but because the math didn't work. And for 40 years, I've watched thousands of smart people make the opposite decision and quietly damage their retirement because of it. Here's what most people get backwards about debt after 60. They think being debt-free equals being safe. It doesn't. It often equals being trapped. The standard story sounds responsible. Work your whole life, save, retire, pay off the mortgage, eliminate the car loan, kill every debt, sleep peacefully. Sounds safe. It's not. Here's what actually happens. You take $200,000 or $300,000 of liquid savings and write a check to the bank. The mortgage disappears. You feel lighter. Then 6 months later, life shows up. Roof, $15,000. Car replacement, $30,000. Medical gap, $8,000. Now you need over $50,000 in cash. But your money is locked inside your house. You have 3 options. Borrow against the house you just paid off, sell the house under pressure, raid retirement accounts, and trigger taxes. None of those are ideal, and all of them exist because you traded liquidity for emotion. Debt isn't the real risk after 60. Inflexibility is. Let's separate something clearly. High-interest debt, 15%, 20% credit cards, that's financial poison. Kill it immediately. But a 3% or 4% fixed mortgage, that's not a fire. That's a tool. If you have $200,000 earning 6 to 7% in a balanced portfolio and a mortgage costing you 4%, the spread works in your favor. You're earning more than you're paying. Over 10 years, that difference compounds meaningfully. More importantly, you still have access to your money, and access is everything in retirement. People say, but what about risk? What if the market drops? Fair question, but compare the 2 risks honestly. Option A, no debt, no liquidity. Option B, manageable debt, significant liquidity. If the market falls 30%, option B hurts, but option A has 0 flexibility from day one. Which position adapts better to real life? The one with options. I've seen this play out again and again. Someone retires at 62, pays off the house, feels brilliant. At 67, health changes. They need in-home care or modifications to the house. Costs spike. But their money is sitting in drywall. They're forced to sell, and markets don't always cooperate when you need them to. The person who kept liquidity, they adjust. They draw from the portfolio. They buy time. They make decisions calmly instead of desperately. That difference matters more than being debt-free. Here's something else most people miss. Debt at 60 is different than debt at 30. At 30, you have decades of income ahead of you. At 60, your earning years are mostly behind you. Mistakes are harder to recover from. And paying off a low-interest mortgage is irreversible. Once you write that check, the money is locked away. Keeping the mortgage? That's reversible. You can always pay it off later if circumstances change. Optionality matters. One of the smartest financial principles I ever learned is this: never give up flexibility unless you're getting paid to give it up. When you eliminate low-cost debt, you're giving up flexibility, and you're not being paid for it. You're paying for it. Now let's talk about inflation. If your mortgage is fixed at 3.5% and inflation averages 3 or 4%, your real cost of borrowing is minimal. You're paying tomorrow's debt with cheaper dollars. Meanwhile, if you lack $300,000 inside your house, it earns nothing and loses purchasing power every year. Wealthy people don't obsess over eliminating debt. They obsess over managing capital efficiently. That doesn't mean carry debt forever. It means run the numbers before you make emotional decisions. And emotion is the real driver here. People hate debt. It feels heavy. Being debt-free feels clean, but feelings don't fund retirement. Liquidity does. Let me simplify the framework. Kill all high-interest debt immediately. Compare your mortgage rate to realistic long-term investment returns. Maintain at least 1 to 2 years of living expenses in accessible cash. Plan for healthcare shocks, because they will come. Think in scenarios, not absolutes. Ask, if I need $50,000 quickly, what happens? If costs spike at 75, what happens? If markets drop, what happens? Which setup gives you the most recoverable outcomes? Retirement isn't about reaching zero debt. It's about maintaining options for 20 to 30 years. Some people will ignore this and pay everything off anyway. Some will get lucky. Their health will hold, costs won't spike, markets will cooperate. But many won't get lucky, and they won't realize the mistake until they're forced into decisions they can't undo. So if you're in your 60s, don't ask, can I afford to pay off my house? Ask, can I afford to give up the flexibility that liquidity provides? Those are two very different questions. Debt after 60 isn't automatically dangerous. Liquidity is. Lack of options is. A small, low-cost mortgage can be a strategic tool. Being debt-free might feel safe. Being flexible actually is. That's not glamorous advice. It won't make you feel bold, but over 30 years of retirement, flexibility beats emotion every single time. And in the end, that's what keeps people secure.